doesn't differentiate between, say, which caste you are born. Everyone is same on that level. Everyone is same. Whether you're born as the son, daughter of a king or queen, or a president, prime minister, or you're born in a very humble, simple family. But on that level, we are all same. On that level, male, female, there's no difference. We are all just same. So therefore, the Buddha emphasizes so much on equality. Right? One. So with this, now, with this background, from there we have to start. From there we have to start. We don't start from the philosophy. We start from the reality, the basic reality which everybody knows. From there we start. So this true nature of the purity, the true nature of the ultimate happiness. What do you mean by purity? Not just a poetic way of positing it, meaning that the true nature of mind, which is total fearless nature. Number one, fearlessness. Right? We live in fear. Just go to Iraq, go to Israel, right? And likewise go to Gaza Strip, go to the Palestine. You go there, people all live in fear, right? I was in Israel last year. So there, no, even this year, just this year and last year also. So there, it's illegal not to have a shelter. What do you mean shelter there? Huh?
Bomb shelter.
Yes. Shelter doesn't mean a place to live. No, bomb shelter. Bomb shelter is illegal. If you don't have a shelter, bomb shelter in your house is illegal nowadays in Israel. You should have a shelter there. And even the children, they're brought up in such a mentality that you go to any place and if you have to stay overnight there, and if you see that, they will, first thing that most of the children will ask is there shelter? Where's the shelter? They want to know this. This is what do you mean by bomb shelter? Why they're looking for this bomb shelter? Because of the fear. You're getting it? So this is, and then say, the fear marks a life. For example, some people, they are looking for promotion. They fear not getting promotion. The juniors are getting promotion all the time, they're not getting promotion, right? So likewise, say with everything, almost everything mundane, we have to live in fear. Nobody wants fear. You getting it? Okay, one. So this is reality. I don't want the fear. So is there a state where I will be totally freed of the fear? I become fearless. There's a fearlessness within me. One thing. Then number two is, I want the infinite happiness, if it is possible. These are the two questions. These are 2 points which everybody can understand. With this, now we go into the technicalities. So these two states, the fearlessness and the infinite happiness, these two are not outside the air. It is within each one of us. It's not poetic. This is a reality. So the question is, the example. We have to first know this with the help of example. Let's say that, say water here. So water. I take the water from a very dirty sewage, say, and here in the Vajratadu, if you come in, when it's hottest? May. Let's say May, temperature can shoot up to 40, 41, 42. And let's say, particularly when the Indraji Rahul and their team, when they're working just the first day they came here, no beautiful houses, no water, no electricity, right? They worked so hard. Okay, so imagine that we are here at that time, and then we feel so thirsty, and then we get water from the sewage, very dirty water. You want to drink it? No. Right? Okay, now we subject this water to, say, the process of purification. Process of purification, like what is that? RO, reverse osmosis, right? RO is reverse osmosis. Then ultrafiltration, you have ultrafiltration. With these processes, we purify the water. And then the very clean water comes out of that. You want to drink it now? Yes. Okay, this clean water came from where?
From the same sewer water.
From the same sewage water. You're getting it? But sewage water is very dirty and now it's very clean. You're getting it? Okay. So this is one thing. Then don't forget this. On the other hand, let's say that I have a black charcoal, and I assign you to make it white inside out. So what do? You will try to remove the black part. Remove the black part, the charcoal will disappear. Right? Now, these two examples. With the black charcoal, you remove the black part to make it white, the charcoal disappears, the very object disappears. With the very dirty water, the sewage water, you remove the dirt, the pollutants. Instead of the water disappearing, water becomes
Pure.
very pure, right? So why, in the case of charcoal, the charcoal disappears rather than becoming white. In the case of the water, instead of the water disappearing, water becomes so pure. Why? What's the difference? Anyone? Yes, Vipinji?
I think the characteristics, which is very important, the characteristic of water is purity.
Okay.
And the characteristic of charcoal is black. I mean, there is...
Wonderful. So what Vipinji is saying is that the true nature, the true characteristic of the water is not dirty. However dirty the water is, the true nature, the true characteristic of the water is very clean. Right? So why it is dirty then? This is not the true nature. The true nature is mixed with the temporary nature. So temporary nature, the true nature of water, when mixed with the temporary nature, then the true nature becomes the dormant. Although it is still there, but it remains dormant. It's not visible anymore. Right? But the moment you remove the temporary nature or adventitious nature, you remove that, then the true nature becomes manifest. Whereas with the black charcoal, the blackness is the true nature of the charcoal. So when you remove the true nature of the charcoal disappears. Whereas with the water, when you remove the dirt, you are not removing the true nature of the water. You are removing the adventitious nature. You remove the adventitious nature, purity from inside becomes manifest. So this is what Acharya Dharmakirti, the 7th century great logician and the great saint, Acharya Dharmakirti, he said it. And eventually, I would very much encourage all of you, inspire all of you to study his text, chapter 4. Pramana Vartika chapter, no, not chapter 4. The text has 4 chapters, and you must study the chapter 2. Pramana Vartika chapter 2. You must study that. Acharya Dharmakirti. This is a beautiful, amazing. You will get such conviction in your, say, the rationality, in your thinking. You become very confident of the reality. So this is what you will get to if you study his text, chapter 2. Okay, Pramana Vartika, chapter 2. Okay, so there what he said is that Simgi Rangshi Vesava Timanan Lopurva. This is the Tibetan version. Simgi Rangshi Vesava Timanan Lopurva. In English, the true nature of the mind is clear light. Mental defilements are adventitious. Timanan Lopurva. True nature of the mind is clear light, is clear, pure light, or the clear light. And mental defilements are adventitious. The true nature of the mind is clear light, and the mental defilements are adventitious. Okay, so this will then take us a little more into technical part. The true nature of the mind is clear light, true nature. So this true nature of the mind, technically, it is known as the Buddha nature, or the Tathagata Garbha. Tathagata Garbha, essence of the ultimate, essence of the ultimate, Tathagata Garbha, or Buddha nature. Okay, when you speak about Buddha nature, Buddha, right? Don't think of that in the context of the Buddha Shakyamuni. You're getting it? Buddha means awakened one. Buddha means awakened one. Anybody can be awakened. You getting it? Anybody can be awakened. So this word, awakened one, That in Sanskrit known as Buddha. Right? So from there the word Bodhichitta came into being, then the Buddhism came into being. Right? Otherwise, Buddhism doesn't mean it's a system. It's the awakening. Right? So now it is very important for us to separate between Buddhism and Buddha. Buddha is the awakening. Anybody can be awakened. Buddhism today, people see it's a system, it's a separate system, a separate religious tradition. There's a very wrong connotation. Right? Anybody can be awakened. For example, how Jesus Christ manifested his qualities of compassion, we see that he's fully enlightened, fully awakened. Likewise, Ram, in his Gita, you just read the Gita there, you see that he's awakened. So we see that anybody who's awakened, that in Sanskrit it is known as Buddha. Right? Okay. So it is not to be ascribed, it's not to be necessarily linked with Buddhism. Don't forget it. Okay. Now we're going to the technicalities now. That nature that exists within us. Okay, who has this nature? We all have this nature. Don't forget it. That nature is technically known as Tathagata Garga, the Buddha nature. Right? Okay. Now, this nature, okay, now going to technicalities. This nature, it has two kinds. Within that, there are two kinds. Right? One is known as proliferating Buddha nature. Proliferating Buddha nature. And the other one is known as the natural Buddha nature. Natural Buddha nature and proliferating Buddha nature. Natural Buddha nature and proliferating Buddha nature. Okay, so this we have to know. We'll do this and then we'll stop here for lunch. Okay, let's say what's the natural color of the gold?
Yellow.
Yellow. When you subject the gold to, say, the very high temperature, then it'll become fire. Right? It'll become fire. It'll become red. Okay. This redness, is this the true nature of the gold? Is this the true color of the gold? No. What's the true color of the gold? Yellow. Right? Okay. So now we see that what is this material which is subjected to this high temperature? Gold. Right? So the tangible thing which we can hold on, that is a gold. That's gold. But when I subject this to high temperature, it is gold, but the yellowness disappears. Yellowness disappears. Yellowness, now when it cools down, again, do we have to bring yellowness from outside? No, just cool it down, automatically yellowness will come out. You're getting it? So we see that one is the substance and the other is the character. Substance is the gold and the yellowness is the characteristic of the gold. You're getting it? Substance and the characteristic. Likewise, say our mind in general is like the gold, and then when it's subjected to the extreme heat of samsara, when this mind is subjected to extreme heat of samsara, then it does not show the gold, it looks red. You're getting it? So angry, aggression, sadness, depression, so forth, it becomes red. You're getting it? It becomes red. That is not your true nature. That's not your true nature. What is the true nature? Beautifully red, yellow glowing, yellow glow. That's the true nature. Right? Where is that? Right? Remove the red. How to remove the red? Cool it. Cool it, and yellow will come out. Right? The yellow glow will come out. Okay. So likewise, we see that our mind in general, like the material, mind in general material, that is known as the proliferating Buddha nature, because this gold, this will eventually become the pure gold. this material, the mind that we have, this will become a pure mind eventually. So that will proliferate. Proliferate means to grow. It will grow in purity, right? It will grow in purity. You don't have to bring the purity from outside. Simply remove the dirt and the purity. As you remove the dirt more and more, then the purity grows inside. Purity is already within us. It will grow. That is, so that mind in general, which has the capacity to grow in its purity, that mind is known as proliferating Buddha nature. Right? Okay. One. Now, within this mind, like the gold, when subject to high temperature, it is so red. That redness is not the true color of the gold. Right? Okay. So what is the true color of the gold? Yellow. That yellow is there within this gold, which is red at the moment. It is there, but it is in a dormant state. That yellowness, which is in a dormant state at the moment, that is known as the natural Buddha nature. That yellow is the natural color, is not the fake color. The redness is just a temporary color. Red is a temporary color. The natural color is the yellow. Likewise, the true nature of mind, the true nature, the real nature of the mind, that is known as the natural Buddha nature. Okay, so what exactly is the natural Buddha nature? That we have to learn, and somebody has to remind me. If I don't touch it, somebody should remind me. Who's going to volunteer to remind me what exactly is the natural Buddha nature? Who's going to remind me? Somebody who's more courageous? Okay, here Richa. Yes, okay, Richa is always very courageous. Right? Courageous means somebody has the responsibility also. What responsibility? If we have to leave without dealing with this question, I'm not responsible. That is the responsibility. Right? Okay, so the question of what exactly, so what I said is a natural Buddha nature. It is equivalent to the yellow color of the red, hot red, the gold. Hot red gold, the yellowness is the true color, but it's not manifest. What is manifest is red. This is not the real color. Real color is the yellow. Is it there or not? It is there, but in a dormant state. So for us, we have the purity there within us, but it's not visible. It is in a dormant state. You're getting it? So we have to know these two things. One is the proliferating Buddha nature, which is like the substance gold. And then the natural Buddha nature, this is like the characteristic of the gold. The substance, the gold as a substance, and the characteristic of the gold. Likewise, the mind as a substance, our mind as a substance, that is the proliferating Buddha nature, and the characteristic of that in terms of the true nature of the mind, which is so pure of the mental defilements, that is known as the natural Buddha nature. Very good. So we have the true Buddha natures there. Now, this proliferating Buddha nature has to keep growing by letting the natural Buddha nature become more and more manifest. Proliferating Buddha nature has to keep growing by having the natural Buddha nature becomes more and more manifest. You getting it? Okay. So then eventually your mind will become Buddha's mind, and your mind will become, the natural Buddha nature will become manifest fully. Then you will become totally pure of the mental defilements. Okay, this is what we have to, all this retreat is just for that purpose. And in fact, if somebody asks you, right? Somebody asks you, okay, why are you following Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, Jainism, Sikhism, or the whatever? Finally, that's the purpose. To make this proliferating Buddha nature to grow by letting the natural Buddha nature become manifest. You're getting it? This is the purpose. Whether the purpose is accomplished, not accomplished, it depends on the accuracy of the means. Right? Okay, for to go to the Pune, proper Pune, where should we go? Which direction should we go?
West.
West, this direction, right? So there we have in the Pune. Okay, so there's a little confusion there. Okay, doesn't matter. Say in Pune proper, there's the Pune University, right? In the Pune University, there's the archaeological department, right? In the archaeological department, there's the Buddha relics, right? You don't know that. Huh? You don't know. There is. Here, I went there twice. You have there's a Buddha relics there. Okay, so we said that, okay, we want to go to I now discovered that there's Buddha relics there, right? Okay, we want to go there to have the darshan. So which direction should we go?
West.
Northwest?
Northwest.
So we have to go northwest. And then meant to go there, meant to go to the Pune, the university, and you go to the east. You go to the east, will you reach there?
No.
Unless you go all the way down to America and come back. otherwise you will not reach there, right? So although you meant to go there, but if you take the opposite road, you will not reach there. You getting it? The point is, finally, whatever religion that you're following, whatever tradition that you're following, the goal is to make this proliferating Buddha nature to grow and to let the national Buddha nature to manifest. This is the goal. And where you go, how you go, northeast, northwest, north, south, that is, say it depends on your intelligence. Your intelligence, right? If you're very intelligent, you can just don't say that, okay, I'm born in Pune, so I have to follow the Pune tradition. No, be wise. For example, say whatever medicines helps you, right? Okay, I personally, my take is that if my brother or my nephew, nieces, if they're there, and then I would say that whatever religion, whatever tradition you follow, I would tell them. And then if, say, my nephew says that I want to become a Christian, I like Jesus Christ so much. Fine, what's wrong with it? But my parents, they always create problem, right? I should not change my religion. Then what advice I would give is that, okay, tell your parents that you're Buddhist, right? Yesterday I said something, eat pizza, don't become Italian, right? Appreciate the teachings of Jesus Christ, practice them, and then religion-wise, I'm Buddhist, right? And then you give Jesus Christ's picture, Jesus Christ's statue. What's wrong with it? Follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, what's wrong with it? So likewise, the point is not to fall into ism. This is not the point. The point is to reap the benefit. Finally, how to get rid of all the fears and how to get the maximum happiness. That's the purpose. And the religions, all these traditions, they, whatever religion, your family religion, stick to that. Right? You're a Hindu, remain good Hindu. Meanwhile, don't forget to achieve the fearlessness, to achieve the infinite happiness. Don't forget that. Right? If today all these great teachers are there, and if you say that my goal is finally to get rid of all my fears, to achieve the maximum happiness, if you say this to Buddha, Jesus Christ, Krishna, Prophet Muhammad, then the Lord Mahavir, and the Guru Nanak, and then the Baha'u'llah, right? Everybody will be so happy. Wow, how do you know this? This is the final goal. Yes, that's true. Okay, so this is the nature that we have. Now, how to awaken this nature? This is what we should be doing in the following retreat session. Okay, we'll stop here with the Heart Sutra mantra 3 times. Tirtha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swadhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swadhyata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhi Swadhyata with prostrations. Gati gati paragati parasam gati bodhisvaha Om gati gati parasam gati bodhisvaha. Okay, from continuation from where we left this morning. This morning what we did was the Buddha nature and the Tathagata Buddha nature. So this Buddha nature has two kinds. What are they? Proliferating Buddha nature and the natural Buddha nature. Okay. So now the question is what we discussed this morning. The linking question is, if this is the Buddha nature that is within us at all times, then why it is not manifest at the moment? So we learned that is because that is mixed with the mental defilements. So how to get rid of this? For that matter, we have to identify what the mental defilements are and then how to get rid of them. It has two parts. Okay, the first part is what are these mental defilements? What are these mental defilements? So for that matter, what we need to keep in mind is that what are the two goals? You remember what the two goals are?
Infinite happiness and infinite happiness.
To get rid of all the fears and to achieve infinite happiness. Two goals. So these two goals that I put in a very simple form, right? Technically speaking, most of you might have already heard about what is known as nirvana, Buddhahood, and so forth. You have heard about these things. Say, when we speak about the first one, the fearlessness, to achieve the freedom from all fears, that state is known as nirvana. State, in simple terms, we can say it is a state where you are free from all fears of life, all miseries. This is nirvana, technically. And the other one, the infinite happiness. After achieving nirvana, still you don't have the infinite happiness. So that state of infinite happiness is, okay, that state of infinite happiness is known as Buddhahood. So we put in a very simple form, how even ordinary people, even anybody from any religion, from any background, will come to know that these two, the goals, that are, yes, I do aspire for fearlessness and aspire for infinite happiness. So put it in technical terms, we say there is nirvana and Buddhahood. So how can you say that these two equals, fearlessness equals nirvana and the infinite happiness equals Buddhahood? This is what again we have to learn, right? Again, I want somebody to volunteer. Who likes to volunteer to ask this question? In case if I don't ask this question, if I don't deal with this in the course of Elaine, okay, Elaine ji will ask us as to how we can equate the fearlessness versus fearlessness and nirvana, infinite happiness and Buddhahood. How do we equate that, right? So we can say it easily, but then one should be really convinced that, wow, that's amazing. We learn about Nirvana, Buddhahood, all these things, but we never thought about Nirvana in that sense, Buddhahood in that sense, right? So Ilenji will remind us of how to see that these two things can be understood in the context of the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. Okay, good. Now say, what's the opposite of the fearlessness? Fearfulness. What's the opposite of infinite happiness?
Infinite sorrow.
Infinite. Okay, infinite sorrow is one thing. To be more technically correct, suffering. Samsara. Three poisons. Okay, same. Technically speaking, arahats. How many of you know what arahat is? Raise hands. Okay, how many of you don't know what technically it means by arahat? I heard about it, but I don't know what it means. Arahat. Okay, arahat are those beings. Okay, anybody who knows what arahat is, please explain what arahat is. Anyone? Yes, Ilenji.
An arhat is someone who's attained nirvana but not Buddha.
Okay, arahat is somebody who attained nirvana. Stop there. Don't say not Buddhahood. Right? Even Buddha is also arahat.
Oh, yes.
Buddha is the best of the arahat. Right? So anybody who has attained nirvana, that is arahat. Okay, anyone else who likes to put in your own ways? Because it can be put in various ways. Anyone? Yes. Yes.
Arhats probably means, this word means those who have destroyed the enemies. Arhat.
Okay.
So the 3 points.
Arhat, somebody who has destroyed the enemies.
Negative.
Enemies in the form of 3 poisons, negative emotions. This is what he's saying?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, this is one way of understanding it. Both are correct. One is known as in the context of somebody who has attained nirvana, one. And the same thing can be put in different words. Somebody who has gotten rid of somebody who has conquered the demons, conquered the enemies. Enemies in what sense? Negative emotions, 3 poisons. Attachment, anger, and ignorance. Right? Very good. Okay, so the point is, what is arahat? There are so many ways of putting it. How Ilenji put it, how the Shivangi put it. Anyone else who has a different way of putting it? Both are correct. Anyone else? What is arahat? Yes? Rahuji? Okay, somebody who has gotten rid of the self-grasping ignorance. Somebody who has gotten rid of the... Okay, those of us who... What is self-grasping ignorance? I don't know. Right? Don't worry about that thing. Don't worry about that thing. So at least we have 3 different ways to look at the same object, and all 3 are correct. Anyone else? Any more ways? Any different way of putting it? There are so many ways. Yes.
They are free from the cyclic existence.
Okay, somebody who is freed from cyclic existence. Cyclic existence in Sanskrit is samsara. Somebody who is freed from samsara. Very good. Somebody who has attained nirvana. Somebody is free from somebody who has conquered the 3 demons, 3 afflictive demons. Somebody who is freed from the self-grasping ignorance. Somebody who is free from samsara. Okay, and any more. Yes, over there.
I would say somebody like nature of water, like able to keep all the dirt, the negative emotions right at the bottom, and never allowed to, get consumed or overpowered by them.
Okay, Vipinji, let me paraphrase what you said.
Yes.
Somebody who can control over the negative emotions, not letting them arise anymore.
Yes.
Negative emotions, technically we call them afflictions, klesha or afflictions. Somebody who has just gone rid of afflictions, that afflictions can never get hold of them. Okay, this is another way of putting it. So there are those of us who are, quite new to this concept, so we see that there are at least 4 different ways of putting it. One is somebody who's attained nirvana, somebody who has gotten rid of the 3 poisons, or who has conquered the 3 poisons, and somebody who has gone rid of the self-grasping appearance, and somebody who has who is freed from the cyclic existence, and somebody who has gotten rid of all the afflictions, right? They all mean the same. How they mean the same, don't worry. Again, this is something which we're going to learn in this retreat. You're getting it? So the best part of attending a retreat in a more, very intensive form for about like 10 days, 8 days, 12 days, the benefit is that we will get a complete form. And particularly here, for this retreat, for the Bodhichitta Retreat, I always suggest not to keep it a silent retreat, because there we need 2 things. One is that our mind should achieve the skill to remain silent. One, that it should not be impulsive. To stop that, we need silence. This is one. Another one is that too much silence, mind can become very passive. Right? Mind cannot speak, cannot be active. So mind should be actually, at the same time, mind should have the capacity to be so active. When you walk, say, Lama Tsongkhapa, he put it in this way. He said that we should train our mind to such extent that if we want our mind to sit, the mind should be so obedient to you that it should sit like a Mount Meru. Mount Meru, nobody can move it. If you want this mind to move, it should move like a very fast galloping horse. Extremely trained horse, how it moves so fast. This example that he has given. So both skills are required. Right? So here, this Bodhichitta Retreat, particularly, and say we can do shamatha meditation, we can practice shamatha thing, but at the same time, this rigor of the mind that should be so active, that is a very precious skill that we require. For that matter, so we see that while the Bodhichitta retreats, they're focused on both sides, because we are too ambitious. In fact, I'm now thinking of simply redesigning this Bodhichitta retreat rather than having everything together, because it's becoming so intense. I'm thinking of splitting this into 3 categories. One more, the shamatha practice on the nature of the mind, then the awareness meditation, and the other more on the bodhicitta, unconditional love, and the third on the wisdom, to see the dreamlike nature of all phenomena. So this is what I'm thinking of. So perhaps maybe this may be the last one for all the 3 things compact together. And so we are all lucky ones. Okay, so with this, we are talking about the arahats. So arahats, in a loose sense, what we learn is that arahats are those people who are gone rid of all fears of life, all miseries. This is one. Arahats, while they are freed of all fears of life, arahant. So the Shubhangiji, how do you split this arahat?
Hat is killing.
Hat is to destroy, to kill.
And Ari
Ari is the enemies. Okay, so killing the enemies, destroying the enemies. In Tibetan, Da Chom. Da is the Ari, the enemies, and the Chom is to destroy the Arihat. Okay, so the destroying the enemies, or destroying destroying or killing the enemies. So enemies here referring to the negative emotions. Okay, so they say the arahats, generally arahats who are not yet Buddhas, they've already abandoned, they've already they are freed from. Okay, let's see now all these the versions, how they come together, right? How they come together. Say somebody who achieved nirvana, right? This is one version. Arhat means somebody who's achieved nirvana. And what's the second version? Do you remember?
Who destroyed 3 poisons?
Who destroyed 3 poisons? Okay, say the nirvana. Nirvana means say the tharpa, liberation. Liberation. So liberation, somebody who's liberated from the 3 poisons. You're getting it? Now these two, we come to see that these two mean the same. Somebody who achieved nirvana and who's free from the 3 poisons. Meaning that somebody who's liberated from the 3 poisons. What's the next version? What's the next version?
Rid of self-grasping ignorance.
Somebody who is free from the self-grasping ignorance. So all these 3 poisons, at the root is the mastermind is self-grasping ignorance. You're getting it? The mastermind of the 3 poisons is the self-grasping ignorance. Until the mastermind is gotten rid of, right? Say on the surface, even if you cut the top, say the poisonous leaves, but as long as the root is there, they will continue to grow later on. So therefore, the mastermind is you can achieve nirvana, you can achieve freedom from the 3 poisons only if you get rid of the mastermind of the 3 poisons. What is the mastermind of the 3 poisons? Self-grasping ignorance. Okay, so therefore these 3 mean the same. Now, what is the other version?
Out of cyclic existence.
Somebody who is free from this cyclic existence. Right? Okay, so when the mastermind is gone, what binds us? For example, say if I have say like any mug or something, I tie with a string and I hold it in my hand and then I move like this. So this will move this object will move in circle, right? In circular motion, right? Okay, so what makes this move in circular motion? Because I'm holding it. The mastermind is my hand, right? So this moment this object is freed from my hand, then it will be free from this circular motion, right? So the moment you are freed from the mastermind self-grasping ignorance, you're freed, and then you're free from the cyclic existence. Cyclic existence existence in suffering, endlessly in cycle. Existence in suffering, endless in cycle. This is known as the, what's the hub of that? Hub of this cyclic existence is a self-grasping. The moment you get rid of this, you're free from the cyclic existence. You're getting it? So therefore we see that any other version of the
Free from afflictions, we said.
Affliction.
Yes, freed from the afflictions which Vipin just said. Afflictions, meaning, so with this the mastermind, then the string is there. The string is holding it. The mastermind is the one which holds everything, and with the mastermind which connects the mastermind and the object is what? String. So likewise, say self-grasping ignorance, and self-grasping ignorance is like the hand holding it, and the object moving in cycle, this is like the we in samsara, we in cyclic existence. So these two are connected by the string of afflictions. When the affliction string is gone, again you are freed. String is the afflictions or the klesha. You're getting it? So getting rid of the hub, which is self-grasping ignorance, getting rid of the afflictions, then getting rid of 3 poisons, then freedom from the cyclic existence, then the freedom, liberation, they're all nirvana, they all mean the same. You're getting it? Okay, this is something we have to learn. How all these 4, 5 versions, they mean the same. Okay, very good. Now, we see that the freedom from suffering, freedom from fears, 1, and then number 2 is we're seeking is infinite happiness. So arahats, those who are not yet Buddhas, but simply achieve. Buddhas are also arahats, don't forget it. Some people, they think that arahats, that we go extreme. One extreme is people said Arhat is the final enlightenment. This is not true. And some say that, oh, the Arhat, they are not Buddhas. Buddha is not Arhat. This is another the mistaken view. So Arhat meaning somebody who, for example, let's say, who is entitled to come for the Bodhichitta Retreat? Okay, so who is entitled to come for conference? Conference? Somebody who did his college, who did the bachelor's, right? And then what about PhD? Can they come? Professors, can they come or not? Huh?
Yes.
They are not BA, they are not bachelors. Right? So that is the minimum. Right? So somebody who just finished bachelor's, they can also come. Somebody who finished PhD, they also can come. So both have this qualification. Some have greater qualification, but at least everybody has this qualification. Otherwise, Buddha also has the qualification of arahats. But we don't call them, when we say arahats, we talk about, when we speak of the bachelors, we put the professors above that. So bachelors means somebody who just graduated from the BA or BCom or BSc. Okay, so the point is that arahats who are not yet Buddhas, these arahats, they have no fear. All fears are gone. The fear is the enemy. They have already abandoned, destroyed the enemies of the fears. No more fear now. But the happiness that they feel, is this as great as the Buddha's happiness? No. So they are yet to have the infinite happiness. Although they have already got into the fear, but they don't have the infinite happiness. Okay. So we see that to achieve infinite happiness, that state is known as Buddhahood. To achieve freedom from fears, that state is known as Arahat. You're getting it? This is what we have to know. So the one is the nirvana, and the other is the Buddhahood. So to achieve Buddhahood, you must achieve nirvana. Don't forget it. To achieve nirvana, you don't have to achieve Buddhahood. Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. With this in mind, okay, how many of us here have achieved nirvana or Buddhahood? Anyone? Those with nirvana?
Buddha.
Okay, so why I'm asking this is that we have this, the true nature of Arahat within us, nirvana within us, true nature of Buddhahood within us, but we are yet to achieve that, right? So that within our mind we have the potential of both, but why we have not achieved them is because they are obscured by the mental defilements. You're getting it? Mental defilements. Okay. So which do you think is more difficult to achieve? Buddhahood or nirvana? Buddhahood naturally. You're getting it? Buddhahood naturally. So which stain do you think? Which mental defilement which do you think is more difficult to abandon? Defilement which stops you from achieving Buddhahood? Defilement which stops you from nirvana? Which is more difficult to stop? Which is difficult to get rid of?
The defilement that stops you from achieving Buddhahood.
Very good. Okay. Now we see that where are these two defilements? Outside or within us? Within us. You getting it? So now we are going to little technicalities. Defilements which stop us from achieving nirvana is known as afflictive obscurations. Defilements which stop us from achieving nirvana is called as afflictive obscurations. And the defilements which stop us from achieving Buddhahood is known as cognitive obscurations. Okay. Now our job is, okay, this much we understand it, okay, that makes sense. But some of you may be very curious to know what exactly is afflictive obscurations. So it is there within me, but how can I identify what exactly is afflictive obscurations and what exactly is cognitive obscurations? You getting it? Okay. So for the time being, I like to give more simple examples. For example, let's say that the okay, let's say the okay. Is there anyone who does not take any garlic? Okay, let's say we don't take garlic. Let's say we don't take any garlic, and okay, we don't take garlic, and somebody accidentally smash a garlic in your mug, right? And then you never take garlic at all. And you say, oh no, who did it? And then somebody owned up and said, I'm very sorry, I did it. Then the person takes it away and remove all the garlic, smash garlic, remove all the garlic from inside the mug, and then wash it. Okay, tell me, wash it so well. Is there any garlic? No garlic at all. So all the garlic is gone. Smell it? It still smells garlic. You getting it? Still smells garlic. So now, what is afflictive obscurations? What is cognitive obscurations? The solid garlic is the example for the afflictive obscurations, and the smell left, that is the analogy for the cognitive obscurations. Right? Okay. Solid garlic is the analogy for afflictive obscurations. The solid garlic, like mental defilements, they stop us from achieving nirvana. And the smell like mental defilements, smell like garlic. The garlic smell like mental defilements. They are responsible for stopping us from achieving Buddhahood. You're getting it? Okay, so this is example. Now the next question is, what exactly, okay, example is fine. But what I want is, I would really want to know within my mind, what are the afflictive obscurations, what are the cognitive obscurations? I want to know this very precisely. Okay, how many want to know this? Okay, so all of us like to know that. Okay, let's say, for that matter, we need to know one stanza from Aranagarjuna. One stanza from Aranagarjuna. Okay, Vipinji, Nita, can you hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, this stanza, we must know this. If you know this stanza, you know the minimum, the half of the Buddha's teaching you know. Right? It's amazing. Buddha is so vast, so profound. And if you know one stanza of Aranagarjuna, you know how to get rid of the afflictive obscurations. So there, the stanza is from Aranagarjuna's the most classic text known as Mula Madhyamika Karika. Mula Madhyamika Karika, the fundamental wisdom of the middle way. This is the most classic text of Aranagarjuna. Keep in mind that Aranagarjuna wrote treatises, texts on the Sutra Parabuddhism and also Tantra Parabuddhism. Very classic texts on Tantra are also available from Aranagarjuna, which is just so refined, and many people who follow Tantra, they don't know this text, unfortunately. People who follow Tantra, but they really don't know this text, right? So, and then they follow some other fancy Tantras. Right? People who, right, this is the problem. So the Aranagarjuna, so in this text, in Tibetan, what is that? This is a Tibetan version. In English, it is that the cessation of afflictions and karmas, cessation karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Cessation of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts. Cessation of karmas and afflictions, cessation of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts, which in turn arises from elaborations of self-grasping ignorance, which in turn arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, which in turn, what did I say? Which in turn arises from elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, and elaboration ceases. Elaboration ceases with the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, the cessation of karmas and afflictions leads to nirvana. Leads to nirvana or is nirvana? Is nirvana. Karmas and afflictions arise from conceptual thoughts, which in turn arises from elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Elaboration ceases through the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, so this is an extremely, extremely important point. And should you attend His Holiness the Dalai's teachings, in most cases His Holiness will cite this quote. His Holiness will cite this quote and will explain his teaching on this basis. This is a great summary of the Buddha's teachings. Okay. So this stanza, to understand this stanza, we need to know 5 points. To understand this stanza, we need to know 5 points. 5 points. Okay. The first one is samsara. Okay, let's say on the cessation of karmas and afflictions is nirvana. What is the opposite of nirvana? Samsara. Samsara is point number 1, right? And samsara is triggered by karmas, contaminated karmas. Precisely, contaminated karmas. Not just karmas, it should be contaminated karmas. Number 2. And these karmas, number 3, these karmas arise from afflictions. Number 3, afflictions. And number 4, afflictions arise from inappropriate attention. Afflictions arise from inappropriate attention. And the inappropriate attention arises from the elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Okay, these are the 5 points that we need to keep in mind. Okay, number 1 is samsara. Then the cause of that is contaminated karmas, which in turn arise from afflictions, which in turn arises from inappropriate attention, which in turn arises from elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Very good. Okay, so these are the 5 points that we need to keep in mind. Good. Now we have to know, say, the number 1, each of these 5 points. Each of these 5 points. From there we will know what is afflictive obscurations, right? And what is the job of afflictive obscurations? Hey, what's the job of afflictive obscurations?
Not able to achieve nirvana.
To stop you from achieving
Nirvana.
Very good. Okay. So this part, we will understand it so well if you know this stanza. And then if you know this part of the teaching so well, you can go to any Theravada countries. You can go to any Theravada country, right? And you be with the monks, be with the monks in the forest, right? Meditating. You just have discussion. You have a lot of materials to discuss with them. So many common materials to discuss with them, right? They'll be fascinated. How come do you know Theravada, right? How come that you know the teachings of Theravada? You are saying so grounded, right? So we see that all these teachings that you find practice in the volumes and volumes of volumes of the Theravada tradition, like Tripitaka is a text. The Theravada countries like Sri Lanka,
Cambodia,
Thailand,
Burma,
Cambodia, Thailand,
Vietnam,
part of Vietnam, right?
Japan?
Japan, no. Japan is Zen. More Zen.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. So you go there, and then see, you sit with them, discuss with them. You see that you know everything, right? And then they will ask you how many years you learn. You can say I learned for 1 day in Vajradhara Center, right? Okay. So this is extremely important. The 5 points. 5 points. Okay. Let's say I like to again give an example, because to know these complicated concepts, we can easily understand them if with the help of examples. Okay, let's say. Okay, let's say. Oh. Okay. Let's say that okay. Let's say that we are all okay. Some of you are in Mumbai. Say you right now. Imagine that some of you are in Mumbai. Vipinji, Siddhanla, and many of you are from Pune, right? And then some from Delhi. Anyone else from anywhere else? These are 3 places. Okay, say you are in your respective homes and you are fast asleep in your dream. And you are dreaming of attending Bodhichitta Retreat in Vajradhatu. You're getting it? And in the dream, I just raise this watch in my hand and you look at it. Oh, there's a watch there. Okay, say you're dreaming. And I raise this up in my hand and I say, what is this? You say, this is a watch. Right? 1. Is this watch or this is a dream watch?
Dream watch.
You are dreaming actually. You're getting it? Say you are dreaming. So actually this is a dream watch, but you see this as a watch. That is ignorance or not?
Yes.
Okay, that is ignorance. Now not only you just looked at it and you looked at it very closely. Oh, this may be Rolex watch. Right? You looked very closely. You said then, this is a Rolex watch. You're getting it? Is this appropriate attention or inappropriate attention? Exaggeration. This is exaggeration. You exaggerate not only as a watch, but a very expensive watch. When you exaggerate, this is a very expensive watch, what happens? I know that. I learned from Indrajit and Rahul that Geshe is very kind, right? He may exchange this with my watch, right? With my watch, and then you say that. Geshe, can I exchange my watch with yours? Then the other person who's sitting next to you, other sitting person, no. This is I said it already. I said it already. So then what happens? 2 of you will have fist fight. With the fist fight, then the police will come. Both of you will go to jail. You're getting it? This is very important. And then your mother is so in the dream. Your mother comes. What happened to you, my son, my daughter? What happened to you? You went to Vajradhatu for Bodhichitta Retreat and you ended up in prison. What happened? What happened? What happened to you? And then you very reluctantly you said that because we fought. So prison is a nice place or not nice place? Not nice place. This is samsara. Why did you end up in prison? Because we fought. Fighting is action, karma. Right? Fighting is action, karma. So why did you fight? You are usually very kind. Why did you fight? Because I felt angry with my competitor and I felt attached to the Rolex watch. You're getting it? So that anger and attachment, that is the afflictions. What made you feel attached to the Rolex watch? What made you attached to this watch? Because this watch was a very expensive watch. You're getting it? So we see that ending in prison, number 1, prison, because of the fight, contaminated karma. This fight was because of the attachment to the watch and aversion to your competitor. Affliction, number 3. And this affliction is because you see this watch as very expensive watch. Inappropriate attention. It's not appropriate, it's inappropriate attention. So this inappropriate attention is because you see this watch, dream watch, as a real watch. That is ignorance. Yeah, do you agree with me? Seeing a dream watch as the real watch. Okay, tell me, all this chain of the episodes of finally you ending up in prison. Finally, what the root cause of you ending up in prison in the dream? Because of seeing this dream watch as real. That's the true watch. You're getting it? That is the final ignorance that made you end up in the prison in the dream. You getting it? Okay, so keep this in mind that these are the five points on the basis of which how we end up in the prison of samsara. How we end up in prison of samsara. Once we know this so well, now we will know. Okay, say samsara is the miseries that we go through, which is so obvious, right? So we are discussing that, say, we have all the miseries, and these miseries, they arise from what, right? From something inside, mental defilements. What kind of mental defilements? Contaminant karmas, then, contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance. Elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. So now if somebody is asked to, what is afflictive obscurations, which stops you from achieving nirvana? You say these are the 4 points. These are the 4 points which stop you from achieving nirvana, which continue to bind you in samsara. You're getting it? These are the 4 points. These 4 points which continue to bind you in samsara, these are known as afflictive obscurations. Okay, now afflictive obscurations. So these 4 points are the detailed version of 2 points. These 4 points are a little detailed. If you want to make them very precise in 2, we call it contaminated karmas and afflictions. Right? Say that one is contaminated karmas, and all the remaining 3 can be categorized under afflictions. What are the 3 things? Self-grasping ignorance, inappropriate attention, and affliction. So, affliction as a part of the 5 divisions, affliction as the part of the 5 divisions, that affliction is the gross affliction. You're getting it? It's the gross affliction, and the affliction as the counterpart, or as the partnership with the contaminant karmas and afflictions. That affliction incorporates both the gross and the subtle. So, say the inappropriate attention and the self-grasping, these 2 are the subtle afflictions. And then the gross one is the number 3. Number 3, which we call as the attachment, aversion, then the jealousy, spite, belligerence. All these come under the gross afflictions. So all 3 combined together is known as afflictions. And the number 4 is contaminant karmas. If somebody is asked to, what is afflictive obscurations? You can say that contaminant karmas and afflictions. You getting it? And if you want to defend your position so well, politically, to make it politically correct, right? Then you can say contaminant karmas, afflictions, and active seeds of the 2. Active seeds of the 2. Why active seeds of the 2? Generally speaking, we don't say this, but if you want to make it very precise, where the room for error is left, right? Then you can say number 3. What? Active seeds. Okay, what do you mean by active seeds? Right? How many of you thought about this? How many of you thought about? Okay, he added this word active seeds. What does it mean by active seeds? How many? Okay, so active seeds. So how many of you are angry now? How many of you are angry now? No one. Right? But after going back to after retreat, going back to Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, going back to your work, right? Somebody says that, where did you go? Then you say, this is not your business. When you say, this is not your business, right? Because the other person sarcastically told you, where did you go? Very sarcastic, right? And you say, this is not your business, none of your business. So the anger already arose in you, right? So this anger, when you were in Vajradhara center, the anger was not there. And suddenly, where did it come from? Where did it come from? Right? Where did it come from? Unless there's a potential of the anger within you, later on, it will not arise. The fact that it arises later, for example, let's say in one place, you keep it, you guard it so well, and then you think that there's no there's no seed planted there, and then next year there's a beautiful rose flower growing. From there you can infer that although earlier I thought that there was no seed there was a rose seed. You're getting it? So this rose seed was inferred through you seeing a rose flower growing the next year on that same place. So anger that manifests later on is the inference through which you are able to see that earlier when I was in Vajradhatu, when my mind was so calm and peaceful, the seed of anger is there. That is known as active seed. Why active seed? Seed which is active enough to give rise to the sprout, afflictions. Whereas, say, the smell of the garlic, after removing all the garlic and washing the container so well, it still smells garlic. So that's the smell of the garlic. Does it have the capacity to give rise to the next garlic? No. So that is known as the inactive seed. Inactive seed, whereas the seed you planted and then it grows to a rose flower next time, that is the active seed. The burn seed, you planted, it will never grow to a rose flower. So that is the inactive seed. So the cognitive obscurations are the inactive seeds, and the seeds which are part of the afflictive obscurations, they are the active seeds. Are you able to make distinction? Very good. Okay. Now we see that we are talking about the afflictive obscurations and the cognitive obscurations. Tell me now, within us, do we have the afflictive obscurations?
Yes.
Okay. Now each one of us will give one example each. Okay, quick, anyone? Example of afflictive obscurations. Anger, very good. Very quick. Greed, very good. Jealousy, very good. Pride, very good. Malice, very good. Ignorance, very good. You can think of any of the 4 points. Contaminant karmas, afflictions, inappropriate attention, and self-grasping ignorance. You can point to any of these forms which you see within ourselves. That is afflictive obscurations. You're getting it? Now it becomes easy for us. Right? So our job is finally to get rid of the afflictive obscurations. First, to get rid of all the fears of life, to get rid of all the miseries. These afflictive obscurations must be gotten rid of. Right? Okay. Now the next part is, so we are now, although still we need to study more, right? But see, we got over the overall view of what is afflictive obscurations. We got it? Okay. Now let's say the cognitive obscurations. Cognitive obscurations. What we said is that the inactive seeds of the contaminant karmas, inactive seeds of the afflictions, they all fall under the category of the cognitive obscurations, inactive seeds. The subtle smell of the garlic. The garlic is like the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle smell of the garlic, that is the cognitive obscurations. So likewise, the inactive seeds of the afflictions and the contaminant karmas is known as the cognitive obscurations. Okay, now you may be wondering, so how can I see that? How can I see that within me? How many want to know that? How many want to see that? Cognitive obscuration within yourself. Do you see this now? Do you see this now? You don't see it. You want to see it? Okay, for this we have to first complete the retreat. Yeah, because this is very subtle, right? Very subtle. Yeah, this is very subtle. We have to at least come to the 3/4 of the retreat. We have to finish. Otherwise, we will not. Anyway, who likes to be a volunteer to answer this question? What exactly is cognitive obscuration? Right? That we neither the volunteers to ask why I am giving the responsibility to others. You know the reason? Why? Yes, Elaine?
So that you don't have to remember to ask.
Okay, this is nice way. Elaine just nice way of saying this, so that I don't have to remember. Or is there anyone else who likes to say why I'm assigning somebody to remind me?
So that we are
Okay, this is so nice way of putting it. So that we are that. Very good, Vipinji.
Like we all remain like an active seed.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
So that is not your responsibility.
Oh, wonderful.
Put the monkey on somebody's shoulder.
Exactly. This is the point, right? Right. Very direct. Okay, Sureshi and the both of you are very direct. Okay, this is the point. So finally, one, to keep you active, right? Mental alert, one. And number two, that in the end, if I don't give the answers, right, nobody will feel that, oh, he left now without giving the answers, right? Or why Ilenji didn't ask? Why Nidaji didn't ask this question? Why Richard didn't ask this question? Okay, so this is very important point. What exactly is what is cognitive obscurity? That's easy. I told you. The smell like garlic, inactive seeds of the afflictions and contaminant karma is the cognitive obscurations. So this is what I told you, right? The next time if the Nida asks me, Geshe, you asked me to remind me, right? You asked me to remind you as to what is cognitive obscuration. I'll give the same answer. Cognitive obscuration is the inactive seed of the contaminant karma afflictions. So what should be the proper question? What exactly is the cognitive obscuration which I can actually see within me? You know? Which I can actually see within me. Yes, I can see that within me. Right? For example, when you're angry, do you see the anger within you? You know, right? Yes, of course. Yes, I'm very angry. And then when you're very upset, do you see your mind being upset? Yes, you can see that. Likewise, even the cognitive obscurations can be seen. Right? So
which A are they supposed to?
Yes.
Okay. So the cognitive obscuration, we must finish the 3/4 of the retreat.
117.
So 3/4 of the retreat we should finish. Right? We must finish at least 3/4 of the retreat. Then we can deal with this question. Okay, good. Now with this, okay, tell me. Say what constitutes the afflictive obscurations? Tell me. What are the afflictive obscurations?
Contaminated karma.
Contaminant karmas.
Ignorance.
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate what?
Attention.
Inappropriate attention.
Elaboration of self.
Elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Only 3. What are the 4? And afflictions. Very good. Okay. Now, say, what is the first one? First one? Contaminant karma. So we can mention the grossest one to the root. Or from the root, we can go to the grossest. If we start from the grossest, then contaminant karmas, afflictions, then what? Inappropriate attention, then what? Elaboration of self-grasping ignorance. Okay, if you go from the subtlest final root to the grossest, then elaboration of self-grasping ignorance, inappropriate attention, afflictions, contaminated karmas. Very good. Okay, now for the contaminated karmas, right? Say, how many of you have seen on the, say, ocean or lake, which is so clean, very clean, but waves are very ferocious. Have you seen any of such water bodies? Anyone? Raise hands.
In the film,
Huh?
films, sir.
Oh, in films. In reality, how many of you seen that? Very clean water, yet the waves are very ferocious. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. In fact, I've seen one in Israel. What is the ocean? Israel side? Mediterranean Sea. So there, on this one side is so clean from top meaning, say the cliff there, and then at the top there was a restaurant. From the restaurant you look down, you see the ocean. Very clean. And then there was the coast, and yet quite deep, and you could see the ocean bed. You can see that. Okay, there was a side. Okay, why I'm saying this is that the same, if the waves are very ferocious waves like this. Even though the water is so clean, can you imagine to see the bed of the ocean bed? No. Because the waves, when they're very ferocious, the color changes. It gives what color? Whitish color. You're getting it? With this, you cannot see the ocean bed. Okay. So we are thinking of, say removing the dirt at the ocean bed, right? We have to think of removing the afflictions. We have to think of getting the fears altogether, to remove our misery altogether, right? For that we have to uproot the source, final source. So which you have to touch the root, the ocean bed. For that first we have to, what should we do? Calm down the wave. You're getting it? So on the surface, the wave is contaminated karmas. Contaminated karmas that we engage in. For example, somebody say usually, right? Somebody greets you good morning in the mornings, and one day the person did not greet you. What did I do? Right? Why is he unnecessarily angry towards me? I didn't do anything. Right? You become unhappy. Right? So these are the waves, contaminated karmas that you're accumulating. You getting it? Okay. So first we have to get rid of the contaminated karmas. So how to get rid of contaminated karmas? Even if you get rid of contaminated karmas, it doesn't mean that you have uprooted the final cause, ignorance. But without removing that, we cannot go to the depth. First you have to remove the surface. Contaminated karmas, because the karmas are responsible for all our active, manifest pains, fear, anxiety, stress, say the pain of losing near and dear ones, the fear of, say, the illnesses, the fear of accidents. All these fears, they are the immediate cause of, and these are contaminated karmas. So, they are, for example, some people, they go into business and then constantly we see that they run into loss. Because of the partnership, the partners, embezzlement, they take away the money and so forth, right? And then they say in some cases they will make sure that they run away and all the loans are put on your shoulder, right? So these patterns are happening. So it is particularly that's happening in more like a pattern, in the form of pattern. Everything happening in a very similar fashion. So these are the result of the same effectual or efficacious contaminated karmas. So first we have to quell the contaminated karmas a little bit. So for that matter, there is what is known as the four powers. The four powers of purification. 4 powers of purification to quell the karmas. 1, to quell the karmas or purify the contaminated karmas, the 4 powers. Okay, 4 powers, I'll just enumerate what, or otherwise we will do the 4 powers later on, but somebody has to remind me. Okay, Siddhartha, right? 4 powers. Okay, we will do the 4 powers later on. Siddhartha will remind me. Okay, the 4 powers. Now there are 2 things. One is the negative karmas which we already accumulated. How to purify them? 1. Then number 2, more important is try your best not to accumulate fresh negative karmas. Right? One thing is which you already accumulated. Right? And then you may do purification, but meanwhile you continue accumulating new karma, no point. Right? Okay. For example, it is like, so one of my friends, every breakfast, his breakfast table, on the breakfast table, what he has is a bunch of medicines. Allopathic medicines, Ayurveda medicines, not Tibetan medicines. Homeopathic medicines, bunch of medicines there. And on the other side is Coca-Cola. Right, this medicine, what is this medicine for? Medicine for diabetic. Diabetes medicine. Right? All the bunch of medicines are there. Not only allopathic, as Ayurveda there, homeopathy there. bunch of medicine there. On the other side is cobra. What is this? I like it. You're getting, no point. You're getting it? So, purify the negative karmas, purify negative karmas, and then you continue to engage in negative karmas, that's pointless. Right? So, of the two, what is more important is focus on not accumulating negative karmas. Not accumulating negative karmas, that will greatly help us to purify also. You're getting it? That will greatly help us to purify also. Meanwhile, we can get engaged in the purification processes, which is known as the 4 powers of purification. Okay, so that is with the contaminant karmas. What is next? Afflictions. And afflictions, how many kinds of afflictions are there? 3? Only 3, very simple. Huh?
Many.
They cover every
4. 4 is also very simple. Innumerable afflictions are there. Innumerable afflictions are there. And yet, at times you may feel so demoralized. If there are innumerable afflictions, how can we get rid of them? Right? We may feel so demoralized. Okay. Luckily, however innumerable afflictions are, we can categorize them so beautifully into 3 groups. 3 groups. One category is this affliction. What it does is that it pushes others away from you. Right? One is pushing others away from you. 1. Number 2 is grabbing. 2. Right? Number 3 is remaining idle, inactive. 3. Can you think of any other category? Say, if somebody, no, I don't want to be like with this person. Why? Because this person is too possessive. Number 1. Number 2, because this person is, the moment I go there, he shows anger towards me. She shows anger towards me. Number 2. Number 3 is that this person is like a stone or like a rock, right? You say anything, it's just idle. You say good thing, idle. Bad thing, idle. Right? So can you think of any other person which you don't like, which does not fall under these 3 categories? Likewise, our emotions, they are like this. Our negative emotions. Some of them are very possessive, and some of them are very averse to the object, run away from the object. Some they go towards the object, run towards the object. Some they are very like a lazy person, like a very dull person. 3 emotions are there. So one is very possessive, is known as attachment. One which is very angry towards object is known as aversion. And one which remains so dull is known as ignorance. So these, say any afflictive or obscurity, any afflictions, any negative emotions that you can think of should necessarily fall under these 3 categories. Right? Although they may differ in complexities, but in broad sense we can see that they all fall under these 3 categories. Okay, so to get into afflictions, again, we have to resort to, again, let's say, if the waves subside, the ferocious waves subside, this is like calming the contaminant karmas. Then what happens? Because of the waves, the remnants are left. You know what kind of remnants are there with the waves? Inside you could see the bubbles. You could see the bubbles. Very tiny bubbles are there. Because of these bubbles, you will not see the depth. So these bubbles are like afflictions. Afflictions. Okay. So after, say, cleansing, after purifying, after stopping the negative karmas, then the next thing to do is to tackle the afflictions. You're getting it? Gross afflictions. To tackle the gross afflictions. For the gross afflictions, let's say attachment. Generally speaking, for the attachment, it is advised to learn about, say, for example, say the impurities of the objects that you feel attached to. These specific methods are taught. For anger, practice of compassion is taught. For anger. And then for the ignorance, say to cultivate wisdom, to cultivate intelligence, these methods are taught. And for arrogance, for arrogance, or for conceit and arrogance, the understanding of dependent origination. Understanding of dependent origination, understanding of the plurality of the diversity of the realities. Plurality and the diversity of the reality, right? When you study the various texts, then you may feel so demoralized, or so many things to learn, then you feel yourself so insignificant, that I don't know anything, your arrogance simply calms down, right? So these specific methods are taught in order to quell our the afflictions. This is number 2. Okay, now one thing that we need to keep in mind is that the contaminant karmas, you quell it. Afflictions, you quell it through the respective practices. So it is like, say, it is like some people, they emphasize so much on cleansing the negative karmas. Some, they emphasize so much on cleansing the gross afflictions, right? Say, oh, this attachment, I should refrain from this, I should meditate on impurity and so forth, or this anger, I should stop it through practice compassion, or now I see that ego is coming up, so I should practice the dependent origination, right? So they are resorting to quell the what? Gross afflictions. Okay, so when you quell the contaminant karmas through purification and so forth, what it is like, saying, for example, there's a poisonous tree growing outside, and then the leaves, the wind blows through the leaves, and then it touches your skin rashes are created, right? So then you say, oh, this skin rash is because of the wind from the poisonous leaves. So what do? You try to remove you chop the top, you remove the leaves, right? And because the stems are still there, the branches are still there, they will, in few days, again they will give rise to the more leaves. You getting it? Okay, so the branches are there. So some people say that, oh, because of the branches, then the second one is not only remove the leaves, you also chop the branches. Okay, so you are free for not only for a few days, but for a few months. And after a few months, again new branches grow, new leaves will grow, right? So that is like chopping the afflictions. The first one is chopping the contaminant karmas. Next one is chopping the afflictions, right? We have to do these two things. These two things. But finally, what is your job? Your job is to get rid of your suffering 20% or to get rid of suffering 100%? 100%. So we need to have an immediate plan and a long-term plan. Long-term plan is to get rid of the suffering completely. Immediate plan is that immediate problem that we have. For example, if you if you have a headache or if you have a stomachache, oh no, stomachache, if I go to hospital, still maybe after 1 month, still I can become sick, right? I want to get rid of this suffering altogether completely. I'll stay in Vajradhadu Center, right? I will attend the Bodhichitta Retreat. No, let me die, it doesn't matter, this is too much. You're getting it? The problem, immediate problem, we must treat. We must treat the immediate problem. Meanwhile, think of the long-term plan. You're getting it? Long-term plan, immediate, both should be there within us. So, say, cleansing the negative karmas, then trying to tackle the negative afflictions. They are like the immediate measures. And then the final measure is, say, the inappropriate attention will fall along with the gross afflictions. Inappropriate attention, right? For example, let's say, in fact, the first time I had the little complicated mobile was the Nokia mobile. That was like 10 years ago. Nokia mobile with the button there. And then, so, because we were, say, in those days, I was maybe like late 30s. And then say, okay, those who already hit like 45, we have a feeling that if you have the tape recorder or watch, whatever, or mobile, then it must be something to last you 20 years. This was that. You agree with me or not? Those who hit 45 or particularly 50, we have the tape recorder, the big ones, right? That is to last for at least 15, 20 years. If it lasts for 5 years, it's too much. I pay so much, right? Now the mobiles in 2 years, in 1 year you have to change. Many people, they change within 6 months or 1 year. They change the mobiles, right? Okay. So now it's very different system. So the point is that okay, so the thinking that, okay, this should last me for this because this is this good. We exaggerate the qualities. So for that, you have to be more realistic. Okay, say the mobile, okay. And there's somebody, one of my friends, who's already 52 or 53 in Malaysia. He's very realistic. In fact, at one point he was the CEO of one company because he's already updated with the today's thinking mentality. So what he said that his mobile was very simple mobile, about maybe 2,000 rupees, Indian rupees, 2,000, 3,000. Oh, a CEO of a company is keeping a very simple mobile. And he said that, okay, this mobile in any ways, in 1 or 2 years you have to discard it and get a new one. Because within 1 or 2 years, the company will continue to say update, right? Update, and then finally you will say that your mobile is too old, right? It cannot be updated. You have to discard it. So why should we have to have expensive mobile? This is what he said. Wow, it's amazing. It makes sense. Okay, so what I'm saying is that exaggeration of the qualities, we should be very realistic. We have to learn how to be realistic. By being very realistic, you will be able to overcome the inappropriate attention. You're getting it? We must be able to see the good sides, bad sides, everything. We must be able to see the good sides, bad sides, everything. Right? Okay. This is so important, whether with the objects, whether with the inanimate objects, or even with the human beings. We have to know all. Front, behind, and what's inside, everything we have to know. We have to know the reality. After knowing the reality, we should not be judgmental. Don't forget it. By knowing the reality, we should not be judgmental. Oftentimes what happens is we come to know the reality, we become judgmental. Okay, this person is like this. Right? This is where we are going wrong. We should be like a mother who knows exactly the strong points and the weak points of the child. And yet the mother is not judgmental of the child. Mother always embraces. Seeing the good qualities, the mother feels proud of the child. Seeing the weakness of the child, mother is there to defend the child. When the child is vulnerable because of the weak points, the mother is there to defend the child. Right? This is how we should behave. And why we should behave like this? Why not other people behave like this to me? Right? This is constantly the complaints coming to me. For example, I tell my friends, particularly the younger ones, no, be kind to other people. Why is always me who should be kind with other people? Why not others are kind with me? This is always an argument against me. Right? Okay, so because we have time, this retreat, we're going to learn. We're going to learn that why I should be kind with others. You know, not that you have to do it, for yourself, for your own benefit. And how? Not just on belief, through conviction. Right? We've learned why I should be kind with others. Not for any other reason, just for your own well-being, for your own happiness. Be kind with others. This is what we're going to learn. Right? Okay. So the point that we're learning here is we should be very realistic. We should learn how to be very objective and being very realistic. And one of the unique characteristics of the Buddha's teaching is the need to be objective in our approach. It's the need to be objective in our approach. Whether you study the philosophy, whether you study the psychology, we should be very objective. This is something which is great common ground between Buddhism and modern science. That we should be objective in our approach. Right? We should not impose our subjective thoughts there. It should be what the reality is there. Discover it very realistically and objectively. Right? Okay, so this is the point, how to tackle the afflictions and the inappropriate attention. Then finally, the long-term plan is remove the self-grasping ignorance. That is the final root. If you cut the root, right? If you cut the root, let's say hypothetically, if you're able to cut the root, the poisonous tree, however massive the poisonous tree is, however millions, billions of poisonous leaves they are growing there, if we're successfully able to cut the root by some mechanism, if we're able to cut the root, right? However millions of poisonous leaves they are going there, they will all dry on their own. Do you agree with me? This is the beauty, right? So the long-term plan is finally to cut the self-grasping ignorance. The moment you cut the self-grasping ignorance, all other afflictions, all other contaminated karmas, whatever, they will cease to operate, right? They will stop harming you. You will be freed from all fears of life. And that part of the goal is accomplished. Nirvana is accomplished. And what exactly is Nirvana again? This is what we are going to learn during this retreat. Okay, yes?
Yeah, just a question. What exactly is self-grasping?
Okay, what exactly is self-grasping ignorance? So the most part of this retreat, minimum on the 3/4 is going to be dedicated on this question. What is the question? What exactly? Don't just say what is self-grasping ignorance. I can give a very simple answer. What exactly is self-grasping ignorance? Right? Don't just give me a generic answer. Right? Don't give me a generic answer. What is self-grasping ignorance? What exactly is self-grasping ignorance? You getting it? Okay. For this we're going to spend at least 3/4 of the retreat on this. Right? How to see everything like dream. How to see everything like dream. Okay, so look at the person sitting next to you. Look at the person sitting next to you. Okay. How many of you see the other person like a dream? How many of you see the other person like a dream? The fact that you are smiling means you are not seeing the other person as a dream. You getting it? This is known as self-grasping ignorance. Seeing the other person not like a dream, not coming from your mind, coming from the object. That is self-grasping ignorance. This is what we're going to study in more detail, right? This is, I would say that the Bodhichitta coming on this earth, there are two primary legacies of the Bodhichitta. One is to discover this ontological reality. To let people discover the ontological reality. What really is that reality, right? What really is this reality? That the reality is what we're seeing now. Is this reality? Or there's a reality subtler than what we're seeing. And this is one of the greatest legacies of Bodhichitta. This was first brought on this earth by Bodhichitta. Right? This is what we're going to study. So precious. One. Number two is the unconditional love. Unconditional love. No matter who the other person is, what caste, what creed, what gender, what ethnicity, right? And no matter what the other being is, whether human beings, animals, insects, no matter what, as long as the other being has a mind, feeling of pain, that love and affection embraces everyone. This is something so unique of the Bodhichitta, right? Say, for example, we can think of many other saints, and if you tell these saints before Bodhichitta, contemporary Bodhichitta, after Bodhichitta, right? Said then we should have compassion to this person, this animals, and everybody will say yes. But very professionally, very specifically, encouraging us to really spread our compassion unconditionally towards everyone. That is something so unique, so precious, left by the Bodhichitta, and that too with a very systematic steps to reach there. Otherwise, okay, we did Bodhichitta Retreat, right? Then I say something, and then finally I say that we should be good, we should be kind, we have to practice Bodhichitta, and then we should love others. And then somebody says, why should I love others? I don't get love from others. Why should I love others? No, you have to love others. Why? Oh, because you are going to suffer. How? No, you're going to suffer. Right? You have to love others. Right? And if you still ask me, then I'll say you're very arrogant. With this arrogance, you will never get to freedom from suffering. Finish. You cannot ask me any questions. Right? So, steps are not there. Steps must be there. Finally, it doesn't matter. So even if somebody is a Christian and who cherishes Lord Jesus Christ's teaching on compassion, we can take steps, we can take the methods and techniques from other traditions, Jainism, Buddhism, and Buddhism can take the techniques that you see in Christianity, you can take them from them, right? Any technique that you find in other traditions, you pick them. Final job is to create your unconditional love and to see reality. That your misery becomes zero, your happiness multiplies infinite, you can spread this happiness to others, right? And you can call it with any label. For example, Niraj, you can say Nirajism. Right? Finally, you make sure that your suffering becomes zero and your happiness infinite, and then spread this. Right? Spread this, and then maybe you can say Udrism, Audrism, right? And Narimanism. You're getting it? You can label, give any label. The point is that your suffering should become zero, your happiness should become infinite, and share this with others. Right? Let others be freed from suffering. So that is our purpose. Okay. 5 more minutes. Okay. 4:30 to 5:30 is tea break. Okay, we have now added 5 minutes. Questions? Questions? 5 minutes. Questions? If you have any questions. Yes.
The meaning of fear, we take a conventional meaning of fear here.
Okay, this is a very good point. Thank you. Fear, here, we spoke about the fearlessness.
Yeah.
To get rid of fear. What do you mean by fear in this context? Is it the conventional fear that we're talking about? Okay, let's say the answer is yes. Yes, but conventionally, meaning remains the same. But conventionally, we say, for example, the human beings, our eyes can see the wavelengths to a certain wavelength, not full. Right? Meaning of the wavelength remains the same. The visible wavelengths, not visible wavelengths, they're all wavelengths. How the people describe as a wavelength, that meaning is applicable even to the non-visible wavelengths. But what we can see is only limited part. Likewise, the meaning of fear is the same. But what we see is fear means there's a ghost there, there's a fear. Snake there, there's a fear. Right? But the fear of loss of job, fear of, say, the fear of becoming sick, the fear of meeting with an accident, right? And fear of, okay, I'm very happy here, then after this again I have to go down to get to tea, I have to step down, right? The fear of the pain, right? The fear of the pain, fear of the uncertainty. So the fear, there are various degrees. For us, what we describe as fear is something intense. Intense degree, only then we call this a fear. Otherwise, the smaller degrees of the fear, we don't call it fear. In actuality, they are also fear. Right? Fear means, say that you don't want it and there's apprehension that it may happen. I don't like it. So that is known as fear. So that when it gets intensified, the conventional people call this a fear. When there's less intense, we call it a fear. We just call it as apprehension. Yeah.
Geshe, in our group discussion, there was a question that we were talking about afflictions, but where did the original afflictions come into being? In the mind, like where did it start?
Okay, this is a good question. If the true nature of the mind is so pure, right? So the afflictions, which are not the true nature, adventitious nature, for example, the water, right? Ganga came from Gangotri. Right? The first time it comes from Gangotri is so pure, right? And then in between, slowly it reaches where? Huh? Before Banaras, Rishikesh, Haridwar, right? So then slowly people start throwing, the corpse, body like this, they take bath, right? And then it becomes dirty, right? Okay, so the dirt came later. Initially it was very clean. Okay, is this the case with the mind? Never, right? Our mind, don't forget it, our mind, say, when it's the beginning of the mind, there's no beginning. Don't forget it. And yet, many of us will be very unhappy to say that there's no beginning. Because we are indoctrinated by modern education that there should be beginning. We studied Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory. Human beings first started 0.3 million years ago. And then we studied physics. Universe first began with Big Bang 15 billion years ago. And we always learn a beginning there, right? This indoctrinated us to believe in a beginning. There are things which have beginning. There are things which do not have beginning. And that is the reality. So our mind falls under the category where there's no beginning. Our body, this body has a beginning. But the atoms which constitute this body, they don't have beginning. Right? They don't have beginning. Same, our mind. My mind of this person, Dorji, this mind is a beginning. The moment I was conceived in mother's womb, there is a beginning. The moment I died, there was the end. But my mind, not Dorji's mind, my mind, that existed from beginningless time. There's no beginning. Right? So, now what we do is that today, why my mind is not pure today? Because of the impurity of yesterday. You getting it? Why your mind was not pure yesterday? Because the impurity of 2 days ago. You go back, it will go to infinite. You're getting it? So this is how we understand that you cannot point your mind before that at one point my mind was so pure, and then later on the impurity came in. This is not the case. This is the difference between the impure water, right? Say Ganga, although the water may be very dirty, but initially when it came from Mount Kailash or Gangotri or Mount Everest, it was clean. So that part is not applicable to the mind. The mind has been impure. So let's say, from the beginningless time, the mind has been impure. 1. State number 2, the true nature of the mind has never been impure. These two statements, you must put them together. Otherwise, when you say the true nature of mind is pure, you may get the impression that at one point the mind is so pure. Right? And when I say that our mind has never been pure since the beginningless time, you may get the impression that the true nature of mind is impure. No. True nature of mind has been pure since beginningless time, and yet my mind, for example, my mind has never been pure since beginningless time. So there's no contradiction between impure mind and the true nature of mind being pure. There's no contradiction. You getting it? This is something that we must be able to digest. Okay, so we'll stop here. Yes, Siddhana.
If there's no beginning and end, then can we say it's cyclic? Like the cycle, there's no beginning and end.
Okay, this is a good question. If there's no beginning, no end, does it mean it's a cycle? Okay, do again this example, right? Example, we can give any example. Arrow of time. Time, there's no beginning, there's no end time. And yet we speak about the arrow of time. It doesn't mean the cycle of time. You're getting it? So we say Kal Chakra, right? The wheel of time, right? Wheel of time, there's connotation. Another example, arrow of time, which means it goes in linear. You're getting it? So something which has no beginning, no end can be given with any example. Suffering, say, okay, suffering, we call it cyclic existence. Why? Oh, you remove the suffering, again suffering comes back. Right? Okay, and I'm born very young, age 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, very cute. Right? And then 10 is so cute, fine. 11, 12, then 15, 20, 30, cute, disappeared. Right? And then the 40, 50, nobody wants to go close to you. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, nobody wants to go close to you, right? Okay, then we die. Okay, now luckily finally I escaped from this body. I die. Again you will come back. Again take birth. So this is known as the cycle, right? The cycle. So that is one connotation. Whereas, say I have the metal impurities. Why I have to come back? Because of metal impurities. So metal impurities, and so one come to Vajradhatu center, then the anger subsides, right? Mind is so peaceful. From Mumbai coming here, you feel the cool. Coming from Delhi, you feel the freshness of the breath, the clean air, right? And from the plains, even from the Pune, from the plains coming here, landscape is so beautiful. Again you go back, again same thing, pollution, everything comes back. You're getting it? So why we confront all these things? Because of the afflictions inside. So these afflictions, anger, no anger, again anger, no anger is like a cycle. Sickness, aging, death is again a cycle. This repeats. Whereas afflictions, the mind, with afflictions, you get it off, it will never repeat. This is a good thing. It will never repeat, it is linear. Afflictions from the mind, if you get rid of the afflictions will never repeat. You're getting it? Finish for good. They will never come back, afflictions. This is good news. So the nirvana is known as definite deliverance. The word is definite. In Tibetan, nye jung. Nye means definite. Definite means once you're out for good. Out of samsara for good. That is the meaning. Definite deliverance. Okay, tea break. Deyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvatyata om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisvaha. Okay, 3 prostrations.